I'm here to represent the over 1,020 officers' families who have died before this year serving this great state and nation of ours. However, my family's loss is what brought me here for the first time as a 4-year-old and keeps me coming back 17 years later. The loss is my father, Morgan County Deputy Craig A. Dorwart. My dad was assigned as a detective to the Central Illinois Drug Task Force, and on April 5th, 1994, after having dinner with my mother and me, he was headed to work a narcotics stakeout. That night, however, there was a snowstorm, and on the way, my dad's vehicle and another hit head-on in between Waverly and Jacksville near Franklin. My dad died on impact, and the other driver survived several days before succumbing to her injuries. I've never been one that was short for words, but writing the speech, I struggled to find what to say next. I reached out to the president of Illinois Cops, Tony Hardesty, and Mark Hannon, and they both said, simply tell your story. Tell the road that you've traveled to get to this point, and what you did to overcome these great odds. So I sat and began to think about that road, and what I could possibly tell you all as a 21-year-old college student about the challenges that I had faced. I could not have gotten here without my family, our close family friends that supported us along the way. Before I came up here, one of these officers that's been along with my family along the whole way goes, "Don't read when you get up there, just speak from your heart." For most of my childhood, I had a simple view of the world. My dad was a police officer, he died being a police officer, and I was going to become a police officer. Around the age of 11, I went to a camp put on by the Concerns of Police Survivors in Missouri. While there I met kids from throughout the nation who had lost their dad in the most horrific ways. Only these kids were able to talk about whom their dad was, how much they missed them, and how sad they were. I didn't have those memories of my father, and I certainly wasn't about to talk to strangers about how I missed him. Therefore, as an 11-year-old, I cried and swore that I'd never go back to that place. But the next summer came around, and for some reason the idea sounded a little bit better. The idea of meeting more survivors and having that support and sharing my past seemed a little easier. So I went back, and it was easier, and I made more friends. And every year after that it continued to get easier. And after over 8 Concerns of Police Survivor camps and several other cops events, I'm able to stand in front of you, discuss my past and where I came from. From this, I learned it's okay to grieve. It's okay to have bad days. What matters is you keep going, because that's what your loved ones would want. My loved ones did not become police officers by giving up or running away from the hard times, but instead facing them and standing up to the challenges of being a police officer. As a survivor, there are plenty of hard days, but we have to continue facing them because that's what they would have wanted, and that's what we'll do. Concerns of Police Survivors also taught me that no matter how big a hill had to be climbed, there was always someone behind me to push me up that hill. I have seen this willingness on the Concerns of Police Survivors cycle across Illinois. This event brings police officers and survivors from across the state of Illinois to raise money and awareness to send police officers, survivors to camps in DC, and to this event today. The first year during the ride, we had a especially difficult day. We were riding up hills and into the wind, and I was really struggling. As I struggled up one of these hills that seemed never ending, an officer rode up beside me and said, "We're going to get through this together." With a hand on my back, he held me over that hill. And it was then that I realized that these officers throughout the state of Illinois were always there to push me over my hills in life, and they're that way for all these survivors. The most challenging lesson that I learned, though, it's okay to ask for help when going through the challenges of being a survivor. As a survivor, I often did not want people to know that I was struggling or facing a hard time. One of the most challenging experiences as a surviving child is to see other kids with their dads go through Father's Day, graduation, prom, all those days when your father's supposed to be there, but he can't be. Although I did not have my dad growing up at those events, I always had strong family friends, my grandpa, they were always there to be, my dad when I needed somebody there for me. One memory that is especially valuable to me is last year at Illinois Dad's Weekend. 3 officers from Northern Illinois drove to Champaign to spend a day with a police officer's son from Jacksonville, Illinois. These men had their own families, their own commitments, but took time out of that to show me that they were willing to support me on a day that I greatly needed it. To the new survivors and the old that are just now being recognized, understand I stand here to tell you that there are many challenges you have faced, and there are many you will continue facing day in and day out. However, just as I have overcome some of those challenges and continue to work through my own challenges, you will too. You're not facing these challenges alone. We'll do it together. We'll always be behind you. To the survivors as a whole, my advice is never to be afraid to ask for help. There are plenty of struggles in the life of survivors, but this family gathered here at this memorial is here to support you. These officers came from all over the state, gave up their time to support us as survivors. That is a great thing. No one knows exactly what any survivor has been through, but there are other families out there that can relate to you and want to help you if given the chance. To the officers, be safe, be smart, but no matter how stressed or busy you are, remember to tell your family you love them. These survivors are your family and may have lost a spouse, a sibling, a child, or a parent, but they need your support. Seeing your support at this memorial is great, but I cannot express how much, as a survivor, it means when an officer from my dad's department stops by or checks in on my family. It doesn't matter what department you're with, reach out to the families in your area. They can always use support. God bless you all, and thank you for coming and giving me this opportunity.